No, tranquila, no, dale al español, que esa la español.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Today, we come together to talk about the passage of House Bill 318, the Criminal Illegal Alien Enforcement Act, and SB 153, the North Carolina Border Protection Act, which currently sits on Governor Stein's desk. These bills that, despite how they're being framed, do real harm for our immigrant communities across the state. My name is North Carolina State Representative María Cervania, and I stand before you today, not just as a legislator, but as a daughter of immigrant parents, a public health advocate, and as someone who deeply believes in the promise that we've made to North Carolina. So, to go back to the bills, HB 318 and SB 153 are not about public safety, they're about fear. HB 318 allows sheriffs to detain individuals based on an ICE detainer, even when there is no warrant or due process. This erodes the trust between immigrant communities and law enforcement, and it endangers so many victims of domestic violence, human trafficking, and exploitation. People who may now fear calling 911. SB 153 goes even further. It aims at intensifying the state's collaboration with the federal immigration enforcement entities, and it mandates major state law enforcement agencies, including State Highway Patrol, SBI, and prison authorities, enter into 287G agreements with ICE. Additionally, it strips governmental entities with immunity for cities and counties and cities and counties across our state who have sanctuary ordinances, exposing them to civil liabilities. That's right. In crimes that are committed by undocumented individuals within their jurisdiction. Finally, the bill bars any University of North Carolina university institution from implementing sanctuary policies and limiting the sharing of students' citizenship and immigration status with law enforcement. We all know that this increases racial profiling. It erodes the trust in law enforcement. It diverts resources and increases fiscal burdens and potentially can harm our mixed status families. So these are not just pieces of legislation in isolation. These are part of a disturbing pattern of using vulnerable people as political targets. And in doing so, we're breaking apart families, undermining our public service systems, and making all of us, not only the Latino community, but every North Carolinian, less safe. So with me are two of our Hispanic Latino pastors actively serving our North Carolina communities. These leaders are influential within their congregations and broader faith-based coalitions, even engaging all communities with outreach, family advocacy, and civic mobilization. Each one of these pastors represents a critical voice within the North Carolina Latino community and all communities of faith in our state. They are positioned as community influencers, trusted messengers, and potential partners, and hoping that we partner with legislators and everyone who's part of our government and law enforcement with civic outreach, social services, and policy dialogue. These congregations span urban and rural regions and intersect with statewide and national faith networks. So I'd like to first introduce Reverend Ricardo Correa. He is the North Carolina Director of the National Hispanic Pastors Alliance. He serves currently as state director for the organization, dedicated to empowering Hispanic pastors through policy engagement, leadership development, and faith-based community outreach. His work focuses on mobilizing Latino clergy across the North Carolina state to advocate for religious freedom, family values, and civic participation within the Hispanic congregations. Please help me introduce Reverend Ricardo Correa.
Good morning to everyone. Thanks for being here today, this wonderful day. These are tough days for the Latino community here in North Carolina. We recognize how the discrimination and racial profiling can come out of the laws that are being presented right here, which we ask clearly Governor Stein to veto them. Let's be clear about this. SB 153 and HB 318 don't just target undocumented immigrants. They create a climate where any Latino person, no matter their citizenship, can be stopped, questioned, or detained simply because of how they look, what language they speak, or where they're from. These bills promote division, not unity. They tell Latino families they don't belong, even when they have been here for generations. This is not who we are as a state. We should be building bridges between communities, not walls of suspicions and fear. And the biggest thing about this is that most people don't understand. For the last 5 years, I saw a study recently in one of the publications here in North Carolina, between 2019 and 2024, 70% increasement of all the traffic stops were targeted to Latinos. 70%. While the Anglos was dropped 9% and African Americans increased just 29%. In the last 5 years, our laws have been targeting to single us out just by the color of the skin. They can stop us for whatever reason, but the end of it is to check our papers. And that brings fear to anyone who has similarity. My children that look like me, they're born here, they could be stopped. And they could be even questioned under legality here. So we are not seeing laws that actually are productive, but are hindering our community. And the other thing is actually is undermining the community trust and local decision making. These bills take away local control and impose one-size-fits-all mandate on diverse communities. Local governments know their community the best. In cities and countries across North Carolina, leaders have worked hard to build policies that reflect values and needs of the residents. SB 153 and HB 318 strip away that local control and force communities to follow rigid state mandates that don't work everywhere. That's not how democracy should work. Our communities deserve the right to make decisions that promote inclusion, safety, and trust. These bills do the opposite. They undermine local solutions and replace them with policies that divide us. That's why today I urge Governor Stein to veto SB 153 and HB 318, for Governor Stein to return home and stop traveling in Paris, and he should be taking care of the business here in North Carolina. This block will divide us, and right now we need policies that unite us, not divide us. We call on all North Carolinians who care about fairness, safety, and economic prosperity to stand with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend Correa. And next is Reverend Jose Ayola. He's the pastor of Iglesia Nlace, Church of God in Christ of North Carolina. He is the pastor of a Spanish language affiliate of the Church of God in Christ, one of the largest Pentecostal denominations in the United States. His leadership centers around spiritual growth, Pentecostal worship, and building resilient, faith-driven families. He plays an active role in bringing Latino communities with the broader Church of God in Christ network in North Carolina. Welcome, Reverend Ayala.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody being here today. Those who are live and those who will be watching later, we thank you for your time. I'm here to talk about the laws that are sitting on the governor's desk to be signed and that we ask for him to veto at this time. SB 153 will increase fear and mistrust of law enforcement. Why do we say that? It will force our sheriffs and police to act as immigrant agents. This bill compels local law enforcement to comply with federal immigration detainer requests, even for people charged with minor offenses. Let's look at this scenario. Imagine a mother who witnesses a crime but hesitates to call 911 because she fears that doing so could put her and her whole family on ICE's radar. Now picture a teenager who sees something dangerous at school but stays silent because he's afraid his family might suffer the consequences. That is what this bill is going to do to our community. It will bring fear and mistrust to the very people who are called to protect us. Now it's building fear for us not to trust them and not to call them when we need them the most. It creates exactly these kinds of situations. It breaks down the trust between police and the communities you're supposed to protect. Without that trust, crimes will go unreported. Witnesses stay silent and neighborhoods become less safe for everyone. We all deserve to live in communities where we feel safe calling the police, but SB 153 destroys that basic sense of security for all of our Latino families. And let's not forget, it also creates more work for our police departments. They are overworked, understaffed, and underpaid. And now they're being asked to do more than what they were sworn in to do, which is protect our community. It also hurts our economic harm to Latino families and local businesses. HB 318 restricts the use of local IDs and creates unnecessary hurdles for immigrant workers. North Carolina's economy relies on Latino workers in agriculture, construction, hospitality, and beyond. HB 318 makes it harder for those workers to get and keep jobs by invalidating community IDs and limiting what documents employers can accept. This doesn't just hurt immigrants' families, it hurts local businesses that can't fill positions, slows growth, and weakens our economy. When workers live in fear or can't provide for their families, their community suffers, and let's be real, we all suffer from that. At a time when we need to lift up working families and small businesses, HB 318 does the opposite. It pushes people further into the shadows. So we urge Governor Stein to please veto these laws. Do not make them legit at this point, because it will hurt not only the Latino families, but it will hurt the whole state of North Carolina.
Thank you, Reverend Ayola. So to close, to every immigrant family watching today, we see you. I voted against these bills, and I will continue to stand with you. A cada familia inmigrante que está viendo esto hoy, los veo. Voté en contra de estos proyectos de ley y seguir apoyándolos. To Governor Stein, we respectfully urge you to veto HB 381 and SB 153. These bills risk harming immigrant families, erode public trust, and undermine our shared values of fairness and belonging. And to my colleagues, this conversation is not over. We want to continue to fight for the state where all families, regardless of where they were born, feel seen, valued, and protected. And to the media and the public, do not let these policies become just another headline. These are people's lives, children, mothers, elders, workers, who keep our economy moving and all communities strong. We are better than this. North Carolina is better than this. We'll take any questions. I agree.
¿En español?
¿Quieres hacer preguntas en español?
I'm going to ask in Spanish, if that's okay, for one of the pastors. Para nuestra comunidad que está aquí viendo el vivo en Facebook, for our community that's watching the live on Facebook, si nos pudieses explicar un poco de la urgencia de que Josh Stein vete estas medidas antes de el viernes. La urgencia de que Josh Stein vete estas medidas antes del viernes para nuestra comunidad que está viendo el vivo. The urgency, what's the urgency for Josh Stein to veto these bills before on Friday for a community that's watching? Si puedes contestar en español.
Claro. Hay una urgencia bastante por el mero hecho de que él fue elegido a nivel estatal por su plataforma, una plataforma de la cual él presentó alianza a la comunidad latina. Lamentablemente, al él estar tomando su tiempo en lo que es dar veto, porque en estos últimos días él ha firmado leyes, en los últimos días él ha estado atento de lo que la legislatura ha presentado, al él no estar atento y dejando que el reloj corra hasta lo que es este viernes, nos da a entender que no estamos siendo una prioridad para él y estamos nosotros exaltando de que él detenga toda agenda que no tenga que ver con la comunidad que él gobierna, que es la comunidad latina. 34% de incremento tuvimos en los últimos 5 años en este estado de comunidades latinas. Somos un gran porcentaje de los residentes en este estado y por ende nosotros tenemos un sentido de urgencia para que él nos proteja no solamente a la comunidad inmigrante, sino a toda la comunidad latina, la cual puede ser un target para lo que es esta ley al poder nosotros ser discriminados por nuestra país.
Gracias.
Pastor, hoy están en conferencia de prensa pidiendo que el gobernador Josh Stein vete esta medida. Si querés traducirle para que se entienda.
Today you are in a conference urging the governor to veto these bills.
Pastor, si Josh Stein procede al veto, el próximo paso es llamar. Sabemos que los legisladores demócratas en el Senado no tienen los números necesarios para sostener ese veto.
If Josh Stein vetoes the bill, we know that the representatives don't have enough of the votes. The Republican representatives
En el Senado.
in the Senate, they don't have the votes to sustain the veto. The Democrats.
Pero en la Cámara de Representantes están los 49 representantes necesarios para poder.
But in the House, they do have the votes to uphold the veto of the governor.
Se haría un llamado de los líderes de fe para que los 49 representantes demócratas sostengan ese veto. ¿Sería el próximo paso? ¿Lo han pensado de hacer?
Have you thought about doing, for the next step, an urgency for those legislators and representatives to uphold the veto of the governor?
De ser necesario, sí, se haría. ¿Por qué? Porque queremos que todo el mundo disfrute de una vida libre, sin miedo. Y no solamente afecta a los latinos, afecta a todos los inmigrantes que están en este estado. La comunidad latina es una de las más grandes en este estado y lamentablemente estamos siendo marginados por esta ley. Si esta ley se convierte en ley legítima, vamos a tomar acción entonces para que todo lo que nosotros podamos hacer a nuestro alcance, lo hagamos para que toda aquella persona que tiene poder para revocarla, que la revoque. ¿Por qué? Porque estamos buscando que todo el mundo esté bien, que todos podamos vivir tranquilos y que todos podamos salir a la calle en paz sin tener ese miedo o estar en esa persecución de que nos van a detener simplemente por la forma de cómo nos vemos. Ya en lo personal, pasé por eso cuando me criaba en New Jersey y me paraba la policía simplemente por ser como soy y por verme como me veo. Y yo no quiero que nadie más pase eso. Así que yo apelo a la regla de oro, según establece la Biblia, hagamos a los demás lo que queremos que los demás hagan con nosotros.
Finalmente, como líderes de fe, sabemos que los 170 legisladores que están aquí en esta asamblea asisten a algún tipo de servicio o denominación, lo podemos decir, de fe.
Finally, as faith leaders, we know that also from the 170 representatives and senators that are here in the General Assembly, they also attend to some different denominations as well.
¿Cuál sería el mensaje para los legisladores? Principalmente ese mensaje de fe, ese mensaje de un líder también a ellos, ¿no?
What would be that message from your perspective as a faith leader for them?
Sí, mira, nosotros al venir aquí venimos no por un partido político, no venimos porque somos cristocéntricos, estamos fundamentados en la palabra de Dios y debemos de tener los mismos valores bíblicamente que ellos tienen en este momento. Sin embargo, seamos sinceros, uno puede ser cegado por lo que son agendas que no son fundamentados en la palabra. Cuando nosotros venimos a hablar acerca de una ley que está perjudicando a la comunidad, ¿ok? Y no hay misericordia, no hay amor, no hay justicia, entonces ¿qué estamos gobernando? Yo hago un llamado en este momento. I do call out to those representatives and legislators that are Christians to actually seek in their heart how they're governing. Because the fact of the matter is that if you're hindering a community, then what you're governing for? You're supposed to be serving the community. Entendemos nosotros, we understand que hay leyes. We understand that. We understand that there are laws. Y entendemos en realidad que hay consecuencias de acciones. We understand that there are consequences for any actions. Pero también nosotros como gobernadores, but also as governors, debemos de gobernar con amor, con justicia y con misericordia. But as governors, we should be able to govern with love, justice, and mercy. Y yo creo que la parte de misericordia es la que está faltando a muchos representantes en este momento. And I believe the part of mercy is actually the one that many governors, legislators, and representatives are forgetting right now. So I do call them out to seek in their heart, as a men of the cloth, as both men of the cloth, representing many churches, como hombres del Señor, representando muchas congregaciones. Queremos en este momento, we do want for them to seek in their heart, que ellos busquen en su corazón genuinamente si lo que están haciendo viene de parte de Dios o no. To seek in their heart if what they're doing truly comes from the heart of God. Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us here, for both the Reverend and pastors for joining us. I just want to say it was powerful actually for them to be part of this press conference because, as they said, this is not a partisan issue. This is a humanity issue about love and justice. So just to explain, the next steps are these two bills were passed on June 10th. So the governor has 10 days to veto to June 20th. So the three options are he either signs the veto, he signs it as law, he lets it pass, and then it becomes law, or he does a veto. Then it comes back to us. And this is where their voices are powerful with all the congregations and all the parishioners and communities who are behind them to be able to talk to Republicans and Democrats alike to uphold the veto. We want to remind people this is not about partisanship. This is about our people, humanity, and if the bottom line is most important, it's about our economy and the strength of our state to come. So please, please support all our people in North Carolina, and Governor Stein, please veto these bills, and then all of us as legislators and community to support our Hispanic and Latino communities. Thank you.
Thank you.